Well, good morning, everybody. We've got a bit of a project today. So, quick story though, first. It's probably not quick. Um, about 2 years ago, two, 3 years ago, um, my house caught fire. We had a small electrical fire upstairs that put us out of the house for a protracted period of time. And I'll do a video on that later, on how that whole thing worked out. But as part of the reconstruction of the house, we got a new kitchen with all brand new counters and cabinets and basically everything. The entire kitchen was replaced, soup to nuts. I had specifically asked when they replaced the kitchen to use all plywood and not that MDF. I don't like MDF. When you put, especially in a kitchen where you have water. So when you have water and you use particle board, the water gets into it and then it becomes significantly weaker. And I have children, and children spill things, so it didn't make sense to me. So we went with all plywood, and I thought that I was going to receive a better product. I did not. I mean, they gave me what I asked for. It's plywood, but it's garbage. Pretty much everything is garbage anymore. So what happened was, a couple of days ago, my 3-year-old, who is very proud of herself for being able to run to the trash, pull open that drawer, and throw her garbage in that little can, and then close it with a mighty slam because, she's 3. Um, she went to open it and, proceeded to rip the face right off of the cabinet. And I thought, wow, she pulled the screws right out of the wood. She didn't. The little angle brackets that hold it on snapped where they were bent, probably because they were cold forged or cold bent. And it made them significantly weaker where that piece of metal bends into an L shape. And right there, where my knuckles are, it went, popped right apart. And it's almost a perfectly straight break too. So it's pretty obvious that it's a weakness in the fastener. So today we get to fix that. Welcome to another day owning a home. Alright, so let's talk about what we've got here. First, we've got my wood glue. Now I usually use the Type-On stuff from Harbor Freight, and I can't actually find that right now. It's somewhere in my tool shed, but that's okay. For the application, this will work just fine. My drill, some 3/8" wood dowels, and a fairly incomplete set of drill bits. Okay, and our actual workpiece here. See, this is the bit that locks into the other side of the track. Here's where it mounts to the face. That's all well and good. But this right here is what broke. And it broke. Let's see. And to be 100% honest, I'm not entirely sure how these even lock together. I didn't look at it. So it goes this way. Where's the pole? Pole is up here, right? Yes. We'll put the pole off the side of our work table here. That way it lays mostly flat. I'm not entirely sure, again, how these went, if they were up or down or what their directionality was. It looks like when they installed them, they only bothered to install one of the screws, and that's not even really in. That's, I don't know how well you can see that. That screw is not down. Okay, same thing here. This one's a little bit better, but it's not down good. I'm not saying bury it into the friggin' thing, but Christ, at least make contact with the metal. Alright, so we'll fix that before we even get started with this. But let me just see how, oh, I see how it goes. Look at that. That became very apparent really quickly, didn't it? that's it. That little U cutout in here creates an obvious weakness in the material. So the persistent pulling from about right here, here's where the pull is on the other side of the table. That pulling is above this. Wow, I don't think it should have snapped like that. I mean, obviously it shouldn't have snapped like that, but I'm kind of impressed that a 3-year-old was able to do it. Now, you might be inclined to think, well, you know, everybody uses the trash can, not just a 3-year-old. And in most households, you'd be correct. However, my 3-year-old is very proud of the fact that she can use the trash and pull the drawers open because it's the only drawer she's allowed to go in. And she will often request to take our garbage to the trash, which is both very sweet and a little bit silly of her. So, she is the primary user of this particular device. Wow, that's... okay. Okay, so when I lay this down nice and flush, and I line the holes up where they go, the front of this floats. And I don't know if that's by design or what, but I don't like it. And there's not... I don't know that I can fix it, because I'd have to pull the track off. And it's that rivet is on this metal frame here. Ugh. Well, maybe I can put a shim in there or something to shore that up so it doesn't move as much. It really shouldn't matter. But actually, I don't even think I'm going to need the dowels now, because there's enough other mounting points on this bracket that I could just use those. I mean, if there's a hole there, then I'm inclined to think there was a screw there at one point. How about this side? Yeah, there's one here too. As you can probably see, yeah, you can see that. So there was screws here, and I don't know where they are now. There's only this little screw at the top, and that's not okay. Looks like I'm gonna have to go to the hardware store and get little, very, very small little screws here. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. Alright, let's see if we can just stub this together for now. Originally my plan was, because I didn't know how it was gonna go together, was to bore holes into this framework and into the back of the cabinet face. And then I was going to glue these dowels into the holes and then cut them off so that they're flush. And maybe hit them with a quick sand. It looks like that's not going to be necessary. So I'm just going to be able to... Well, they are little, aren't they? Pretty sad excuses for fasteners, but we'll end up on our bottom hole. Make sure the drill is operating in the correct direction. That's important. Line this up with our previous hole, like this bad boy. Right here. Okay, that's good and flush and tight down to the wood. I'm actually a little bit sorry. And I'm sorry because I actually thought this was going to be a slightly more involved and more complicated fix. Or at the very least more interesting. All I effectively did was move 2 screws. I thought it was more broke than that. But it looks like that's going to work for now. I will have to pick up some extra screws just to button that down really good. I'm a little upset with the installers. by my count, it looks like they only put 4 screws in, and 2 of them came out of their own accord, and the other 2 were not fastened very tightly. That's definitely going to be on the installer, and I know who that individual is, and me and him will have a chit chat about his processes very soon. So this is fixed, and if you've never had to take one of these apart before, now you know how. Just very quickly, let me just do this in real time. Pull the camera back down. I swear this tripod was like the best investment I've ever made, save for my power tools. Okay. If you don't know, there's these little black levers here. This one goes down, the other one you grab and pull up, and that is how you release this from the track that it's embedded in in its installed state. And this should pop right back in there the same way. So we're going to install that, and then we'll cap off the video. So there you have it. Our installation is complete. There won't be any shots of the inside of my house, I'm sorry. I have kids, and things are always a bit of a mess, and that's not something I want to be broadcasting across the internet. But if you have kids, as I'm sure most of my viewers do, you understand that, you know, kids just create disasters everywhere they go. So I went installed very easily, popped right into place. The wife is happy. You know what they say, happy wife, happy wife. So one of the little things, just to improve, you know, the quality of things around the house, even if it is fixing something you should have never broken to begin with. I have to say that I'm wholly unimpressed with the entire process that's been the reconstruction of the house since the fire. And since this is such a short video, I'll go ahead and tell that story. It was Memorial Day of 2020, and well, we were outside. I was actually building a bookshelf for my wife. I didn't have all the power tools that I have now, but I had enough. And I was in the middle of building that. And I'd actually just about gotten it done. And a blue Caravan, a Dodge Caravan, pulled up in my driveway. And this very nice lady stuck her head out the passenger window and she said, "You know your house is on fire?" And I just looked at her and I'm like, my house? My house is on fire? So I take a walk around the outside of the house because you just can't take somebody's word for this, even though I probably should have. I walk around the front of the property, I look at the opposing side of the house, and sure as shit, the entire upstairs wall is burning right around the window. And I thought to myself immediately, I was like, there's an outlet there. I'll bet you that's an electrical fire. Okay, so complications very quick, because now there's an emergency. My brain goes into fucking overdrive. Okay, I've got an adrenaline rush that I could probably bench press a Buick now. Okay, I run around to the front of the house. I yell at the wife, everybody out. Now, all the kids are already outside. Okay, our 3 children are all outside. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are they're at the grocery store, so there are no human beings in the house. However, we have cats and a dog. And that's an issue. We run into the house, me and the wife, and I pull the dog outside. We pull his cage outside. I throw the dog back into his crate, which again, he's very well trained, so he's fine with all of this. It's so weird because he had been acting like a fool for like a couple of days, and it never dawned on me that something would be wrong with the environment of the house that was making him skitsy. He's just, he's a big puppy, so sometimes he just does dumb things, and I should have been paying more attention. Anyway, he's outside. We have all kinds of cat crates and cat carriers and stuff, so we're throwing cats in crates and getting them out of the house. My mother-in-law's on oxygen, so we're pulling oxygen bottles out of the house. We're terrified that this stuff gets hot, and oxygen is not flammable. Oxygen is a catalyst, and it will feed a fire if it already has fuel. But the oxygen is under pressure in the can, so I'm worried about the oxygen expanding if the bottle gets too hot and bursting, and causing pretty severe harm, The lady in the caravan is already on the phone calling the fire department. I'm trying to get vehicles away from the house. And she's just trying to clear the area, just get as much out as we can. I run back in the house. I know we're gonna be out of luck for at least a couple of days until we can get things sorted. So I run upstairs. I grab some of the baby's clothes and I shove them in a bag. And I grab some of my wife's clothes and the kids' clothes and just stuff and stuff. And meanwhile, the fire is on the other side of the house, so I'm not in any immediate danger where I'm at. There isn't even any smoke. Just trying to get stuff together, but I know that I'm running out of time quick. I'm just looking around for anything I think we're going to immediately need. And we get it all outside. Fire department shows up. Our very nice neighbors across the street, let us camp out in their property for a few hours while the fire department put out the fire. And it was heartbreaking. And it wasn't really heartbreaking for me because I look at everything like a problem that needs to be solved. And so when the fire department showed up and they got up on the roof and they put chainsaws into the roof and they start digging open the roof, and I'm like, well, that makes sense. Fire is mostly in the roof now, so you're going to want to expose that and get some water on it. My son was only 3, 4 at the time. 3. I never thought about how it was going to affect him, and he went into an absolute panic. Just, they're cutting the roof, oh my God, and it was just heartbreaking to see that. From that night, I called a friend of mine that runs a motel down the road, and I got us reservations to stay there, and we lived there for 16 months. Now, that's an important number, 16. It's an important number because the insurance company refused to pay a whole year outright because they said that we wouldn't be in the motel that long. I'm pretty happy with that. The insurance company doesn't think we're going to be in the motel for a year, for more than a year, so they want to pay for it for a year. Okay, I understand that. And I'm stoked about not having to move back into the house or not being out of the house for more than a year. I mean, I figured with the damages and whatnot, I've worked in construction for a long time. I figured there was probably 7-8 months worth of repairs to be done there, as far as procuring new materials, getting inspections, all of that. And it would have been. Except what other important event happened immediately after Memorial Day in 2020? If you said COVID, you're right. And suddenly everything became incredibly difficult to get a hold of. And what there was to get a hold of was incredibly expensive. So the insurance company was hemorrhaging money, which, again, that's what they're for. But there's a lot of pushback on everything. And everything was being done just as cheaply as possible, both on the material front and the labor front. So, when you're talking, my cigarette went out. So, fast forward a week from the fire. Just a week. 7 whole days. And my father-in-law died. He had some pretty severe health problems related to, I believe, congestive heart failure. No. Well, yes, that and some other problems related to his breathing. He had smoked for many years. He had quit, but the damage had been done at that point. I'm sitting here toking away like an asshole. So that was another blow, literally, a week apart. And these things tend to happen in threes. So, I worked at the time at a Dunkin' Donuts. I was the assistant manager of the store. And the contractor that was leading the Serve Pro team into getting everything rebuilt and fixed and cleaned and the whole 9 yards, there's a fella that would come through my drive-through every morning and order a cup of coffee for his wife. And I knew his order. I knew what they wanted. I'd seen him many, many times. And so it was nice that he was coming through my drive-through. I could get updates on what was going on pretty much daily. And I worked 6, 7 days a week, even from the motel, because it was only right down the road. And he would let me know where they're at with things, as stuff changed. But what I didn't know is that he was pulling shit behind my back. And when I say that, I mean, he would ask me, what we're doing with a particular thing, if there was some contention or indecision about, anything with the house. And I would tell him, this is what we decided. And then he would call my mother-in-law and say, I don't fucking answer to him. He's not the homeowner. And I'm not. I'm not technically the homeowner. I'm just, the only guy here that can do things. And then he would try to backtalk my mother-in-law into doing something less expensive. And I didn't know this was going on for a while. And then when I did find out it was going on, it was a major problem, and I fucking detonated. I was yelling and screaming like a raving lunatic. Because I know what this guy's about. I know what he's doing now. He's gonna play the game where we're gonna talk the customer down into doing cheaper things, and I'm gonna put all the money in my pocket. You see, because the insurance company paid him already. He quoted the job at almost $200,000. Okay, so now every corner he can cut, he puts more in his pocket. And I didn't know this was going on, and I didn't find out until the project was almost done. So as I look around the house now, I see things that are just shit, just really shit. Like the vinyl floor is peeling up. Even the paint. They painted the walls with flat paint. Who the hell uses flat paint on purpose? Like, you can't clean it. I have kids. So you can bet your ass there is crayon drawings all over all the walls because I have a 3-year-old and we didn't watch her for like 8 seconds. That I can't watch. I have to repaint literally the entire house. And I've already repainted like 2 of the rooms. But still. So, everything's been pretty shit for the last 3 years while I've been trying to recover from this absolute disaster that is allowing ServPro into our lives. It's not just ServPro though. We ordered furniture from Raymore and Flanagan because Raymore and Flanagan, and I don't know if they're a nationwide thing or not, but I know around here they're a pretty big deal. Like if you're ordering from Raymore and Flanagan, you get some money. You get good quality furniture with warranties on it. For both fitness, health. If they have electronics in them, they'll send techs out to repair your stuff, and that's really cool. And I've had to have techs here to fix the relays in the sofas and the love seat, the reclining chair, twice. I have to take the kitchen, or the dining room table rather, the chairs. I have to take them, flip them all over about once every 2 months, and tighten all the bolts because they were assembled in Vietnam. And I don't know what the hell's happening there, why none of that hardware wants to stay put, but it doesn't. And I'm kind of afraid to put Loctite on any of it because I don't know if I'm gonna need to take those apart at any time. It's been misery. It's been absolute misery, and I'm doing my best to wear the brunt of that. I have my power tools, and while ServPro may not employ the most gifted of carpenters, I am a fairly accomplished carpenter, so I know that there's nothing I can't fix in this house, so long as I have the income to do it. And that's where we run into our third problem. I said these things happen in threes. Well, January of this year, I was fired from my job as the assistant manager of the Dunkin' Donuts down the road. And I was fired because I kept yelling at my employees because I kept finding them on their phones. And I've asked repeatedly, guys, No phones while you're on the floor. No phone unless you know you have an important phone call or something to make. You know, you something with your kids or whatever. That's understandable. Let me know. Go out back. I'll cover your position, and you go handle your business. You know, make a phone call. It's a lot faster than typing. And I kept finding them surfing Facebook and Snapchat and stuff like that. And finally, I got tired of it. I was like, look, here's how it is. The next time I catch somebody with a phone, you get a write up. You get 3 write ups, you don't work here anymore. That's that simple. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. And they said I was making a toxic environment because they couldn't fuck around on the job. And there were enough complaints that upper management came down and was like, look, Joe, we understand. We're not saying you're wrong, but we either fire you or we have to fire the entire crew because they're going to quit anyway. So they fired me for doing my job the way I was trained to do it. And that's okay. I mean, unemployment's a thing. They're in the wrong for terminating me under those pretenses, but it is what it is. You know. So now it's one thing at a time. And I make money. I always make money. I've got to hustle. You know, me and my buddy, if you watch the Adventures of Mike 1 channel, you've probably seen me. He refers to me as Lunchbox in his videos. We do scrap metal removal. There's good money in scrap metal. It's hard work, though. It's very hard. It's very laborious. It's hell on your body. But again, this is my revenue stream, and I have a wife and 3 kids that I have to take care of. So it doesn't matter how laborious it is to my body, because it needs to be done. I have to make money. I have to make money to feed them, to take care of them. I have to make money to finish the property. And by finish, I mean I'm going to put a fence all the way around the backyard here so that my dog has a place to run and play. And then if I can get that up, we'll have videos of me playing with my pit bull. I need to I want to work on the cellar stairs a little bit. I want to pour a concrete slab back here and erect a sort of work area, not a shop, not like a shed, not a big shed or anything like that, because you need permits for that. And honestly, I don't really have that much yard, so I kind of don't want to drop a giant shed in the middle of it. So I want to put up a big patio almost back here using self-leveling concrete, and then I'll at least have a level space that I can work on, and maybe I'll put like a lean-to or something around it, or even just maybe like an awning or something, just to keep the rain off of me. Not that I would work in the rain, but we get a lot of pop-up showers around here, so just in case, I keep my tools safe, you know. So that's it. This video went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. There's a lot more to it, but I'm fuzzy on a lot of the details. It's been 3 years and we've had a lot going on. If you have any questions or comments, please, by all means, leave them, and I will be more than happy to answer anything that you guys want to know. I do enjoy very much interacting with commenters on my videos, so don't hesitate. Like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. It helps me out a lot. I'm not monetized yet. I'm hoping to get there. It's just an additional revenue stream to help me get things together. Please don't send money. I don't have a PayPal. Well, I do, but I'm not going to give it to anyone. I don't have a Patreon or any of that nonsense. I don't like handouts. I'm very much a conservative man. I like to do things on my own. But if you want to help out, subscribe. That right there means a ton to me. Other than that, I guess we'll see you guys on the next video, and when I'm fixing something else around here, or possibly painting a room. We'll see.